Good morning, everybody. Melissa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials, and today's a new Monday. I was gone last week. Last week I was in South Carolina working with some families there, and great conference, And I was making my way home last week, so that's why I wasn't here last week. But I hope you all had a great week anyway. And I want to wave to all my friends in South Carolina that I made. Some great moms there that we worked with. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, today we're going to talk about cultivating peace, and we're going to do some child meditations. So I'd like for you to run and grab pen and paper at least. If you have your art supplies handy, this is a great time. What I'll probably do is just read through the meditations that I do, and then have you note them for later. So that way you can do them. And there's some that I've got written in other places, but then there's also some different ones that I have been doing lately at some local conferences. So anyways, first I want you to think about, and again, hopefully you have a pen and paper. I want you to rate your parenting on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being suckfest, you wish that you can do it over, and 10 being, hey, I think I'm pretty good at this. And then I also want you to rate your rhythm on the same scale, and then rate your marriage or your partnership on that same scale. And if you're a single parent, then rate how you're feeling about that. How are you feeling about where you're at? My purpose behind this is I really want people to feel really good about where they are. And I know it's easy when we're on this parenting track to just feel like we're drowning, and like nobody's there to help us, or even on the marriage or partnership track, like it's never going to get better. And really I want to encourage you that it takes work on everybody's part. On the parenting end, it takes you sort of realizing that you've got to take a handle on some things, and that that you have to learn how to hold the space if you're not doing it now. And it also takes realizing that this is a season. Goodness, I'm itchy this morning. It takes realizing this is a season, and that season is over before you know it. Speaking of seasons, this guy here comes home in 31 days. We're not counting here at all. No, we're actually very excited for him to come home. He's been gone for almost 2 years, and so we're pretty excited for him to come home. And actually, all of my kids will be here. Both of my big boys will be here at the same time. So it's going to be a very full, tiny condo. So anyways, but I want you to think about your parenting, and I don't want you to be down on yourself because, oh no, I'm only rating it a 3. No, so I want you to step back then and go, is it a 3 because of how things are going right now? Is it a 3 because we've got a lot of stress in our lives and I don't feel like I'm the person that I want to be? Is it a 3 because maybe I'm struggling with depression, or I'm struggling with some seasonal stuff going on, or I'm feeling overwhelmed because of what's coming up? No matter what those things are, I stop and do these rankings for myself on a regular basis because I want a snapshot in time, and I want to go, okay, wait a minute, why am I feeling like this is where I'm at? So those of you who are doing our Planning for Peace journal, these are rankings, some of the rankings that we have at the front of the journal, and I do them, like I said, on a regular basis because I want to do a check-in for myself. I'm all about cultivating peace in my house, and all about being the best parent that I can be, and being the best partner that I can be. And that's actually my prayer every day when, please, Heavenly Father, help me to be a good parent and a good partner. And those are things that are at the forefront of my mind. And really taking care of myself and my self-care, and being able to, in order to cultivate peace, it has to sort of grow in here. I have this shirt on today. You see, it's a peace shirt. It's just a reminder to me about, and I wear it often, about being peaceful and being in a peaceful place. So, now that you have, hopefully those numbers don't make you sad. I'm hoping that if you have numbers that are low, that you go, all right, what are we going to do about it today? Because it's all about what you're going to do about it today, right now, this minute. So I want you to think about some ways to cultivate peace in your home. These are just some short ways. So I'm hoping that maybe you've got some others that you're thinking of, that maybe you'll post them here. Meaningful music, I think. And by that, I'm not talking about rock and roll music, even though we have lots, there's a ton of music that's on my playlist. It's beautiful, meaningful music. It's not the same music that I play with my kids. I'll play usually something softer. And of course, when they get older, you can change that up a bit. But I also use my voice a lot. And I did great in singing in my younger years. I feel like this old lady now with my singing, but guess what? They still want to hear it. And so I am encouraging you, especially with our new music program that's coming out, to sing, sing, sing. My kids watched that show this weekend, and they said it wasn't worth watching, so I'm not going to watch it. I might waste my time, but I want you to be encouraged to sing. I want you to sing with your kids, sing for your kids. I think if you have kids that say, don't sing, I would say, I'm singing anyway. And just get yourself to a place where you feel confident in it, where you feel happy about what you're singing. There's some great Waldorfy songs, even if it's not Waldorf, like folk songs was a great place for me to be. Just find some songs that are meaningful to you and bring that meaningful music into your home. And like I said, sometimes it's recorded music, but I rarely bring in, except for, a couple of times a day, maybe if we're trying to work through, like when we do a 20-minute cleanup, I might put on something really energizing for that 20-minute cleanup, but then it goes pretty much off because there's something that stirs. So you want to be really careful, especially if you've got little ones that are sensory seekers. There's something that stirs that. And if you're wanting to have peace and having it be down here rather than being up here and be crazy, be mindful of what it is that you're playing for them or singing for them. Another way to cultivate peace is to keep adult conversation with just the adults. And I know that can be hard, especially if you haven't seen your partner all day long or you haven't seen your friend in so long and you just want to have these great meaningful conversations, and you have to be careful to not have them around kids, because it does when you're trying to have a meaningful conversation. If you don't believe me, try this. Just try. See what happens with the kids. Often what happens is you're having this meaningful conversation and you're just getting into it and you're just getting to the meat of it, and then things are falling apart over here. Kids are, because you can't hold the space and give your energy to something else. So if you're really wanting to cultivate peace, you want to sort of have that medium tone and not have these huge conversations. When we have conversations that we need to have, Eric and I make a time. We'll go, all right, so kids are going to be in bed by 7:45. How about we sit down at 8:15? And we make the time. I had a mom at the conference that I taught at last week talk to me about, she was a choleric mom. And she was asking me, her husband is phlegmatic, and she was super frustrated because phlegmatics don't change gears very easily. And she was like, how do I get him to make a decision on the spur of the moment? And I said, well, try not to make him do that. One thing that I do, because I'm pretty choleric and Eric is phlegmatic, I'll say, honey, here I'm pitching you this idea. Let's have a talk about it tomorrow. And that gives him the time to think about it. Now, of course, there's going to be times where you have to make a spur of the moment choice and spur of the moment decision. And they don't love it, but they'll do it to get back to comfort fairly quickly. But when it comes to like big ideas, like, hey, I want to build a hobby farm. Don't spring that. If you're a choleric, don't spring that on your phlegmatic husband. He'll be like, what? What do you want to do? And then you'll get all sorts of resistance. And I find that often the arguments that come between those two temperaments are the resistance, because the choleric is like, I want to do this. And the phlegmatic is saying, oh no, this is too much. I don't want to think about all this right now. So plant the seed, and then come back to cultivate it 24 hours or so later. And then in doing that, you have to have conversation with your phlegmatic husband when you're not bringing him an idea, and just say, honey, I realize that, or phlegmatic other partner, I realize that when I come to you and I have this big idea, that it's that you shut down and that you get mad, and so I'm trying to hopefully help you so that you don't do that, and so that we don't fight. So what if I bring you an idea and I let you sit with it for a day? Then can we talk about it? So just sort of have those conversations when you're not in the middle of having, big feelings, because, big feelings. Anyway, okay. And then another thing that I put in here, don't just run and have fun outside. Really, truly appreciate nature. Appreciate where you are. Appreciate the place in life that you're in. even if it's not ideal. Have to be things that you appreciate about it in order for that appreciation to grow, and it won't grow if you're just constantly talking about what is. So really work to find ways to appreciate today. Especially if you've been in a rut. Today, I want you to go out and I just want you to appreciate what's near you and around you, and then come back and tell us about it. Because I want to know. I want to know what it is that you're appreciating currently in your living situation. There's a ton of stuff that it's easy. Like I said, it's easy to get bogged down with the day. But man, I can fix it in a walk. I can fix it I'm just going to go for a walk. And that's not even, people would say, well, you live by the ocean. That's easy to get. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about appreciation in general. Appreciation for where I live. Appreciation for the people that I see. Appreciation for the fact that I have a car again, finally. Appreciation for all these little things. And it builds and it grows and it becomes a snowballing effect. So think about those things. Think about things that help you cultivate peace. And now we're going to go on to the guided meditation. So get a pen and paper and let's write them down. The first word, and I want you, when I work these meditations for myself, I would not do them all at once. When I teach them in a conference setting, we do 3 or 4 at the same time, sometimes 5. It's much better if this is what you're doing in the morning before your kids get up. So you're up and you pick one thing a day to do, and I would focus on one child at a time. Especially if you have several children. Often when everybody was really small and I was in the thick of it with my big kids, I would end up focusing on one child a week. And then by the time I got to the end, it was time for me to go back and focus on the other child again, because you want to really be focusing on struggles you might be having, and really getting the answers from source that you need to be getting for that child. And I find these exercises immensely helpful for that. I also find them really helpful for my own confidence and my own strength building. And so like I said, I work on these on a regular basis. I think they're super important. Get your pens out, get your colored pencils out, your chalks out, whatever art medium that speaks to you to do these with. So anyways, here we go. In one word, describe you. Drawn, like in a drawing. Draw the word, and then just draw around it. It's one word that describes you. And this changes over time, but just pick one word that describes you. And not your child, but you. Okay? And then the second one is draw yourself as a sea creature. And you can substitute in there. Sometimes I'll say draw yourself as an animal, draw yourself as a plant. I'll change those up. And the reason why we're doing these is sort of getting a different perspective of like what sea creature, are you a shark right now? Or, are you, I sort of describe Samuel often as this lovely sea hare. And if you don't know what a sea hare is, we post pictures of them on our Facebook all the time. We have them down at the tide pools, and they're these just plodding along sea slugs. They're just slow, and they just eat, and they take a while, and they just eat again, and they're beautiful. So that's when I draw Samuel often lately. That's usually him. He's my little slowpoke, but man, he's beautiful and an amazing person. Okay, so then I want you to draw yourself the way Source or God sees you. And then I want you to draw your child as sea life, animal life, plant life. And then your child as God sees them, or as Source sees them. So that's separate. Those are separate drawings, and I would not do them all at once. I would ponder each one and take the time for each one to draw each one, and really just sort of sit with those ideas and see what comes up. I find it very helpful to, you meditate on it, you draw about it, and then come back to it and think about it. And I always write, the date, what was going on with the child, why I felt like this was the child that I needed to do the meditation on. These are also really helpful for when you're working with people that you're struggling with. So I sort of joke that I have done this exercise for my ex-husband a lot because it always helps me to think about him in a different way when he's making me really frustrated. And then it helps me to see him the way God sees him or the way Source sees him, because I can put my own glasses on and see him in my angry way, or when I'm working with a child, see them in my frustrated way. But I really want to see them the way I want to get better at seeing them the way Source sees them, and that takes some time. That takes some, and it's a very humbling exercise. And often when I do this in conference settings, there's tears, and often when I'm doing it for myself, there's tears. And it's okay. It's okay to be emotional about this, because we are talking about your relationship with your child here, and sort of how you are navigating that and how you're helping them navigate the world. So it's okay that you have big feelings about it. Let's see. And then the last piece here, and I think this is another fairly big one. If you could give up one bag of poo, what would it be? And if you don't know what the bag of poo is, go back and listen to some of our other work. But if you could give up one thing that's weighing on you in that bag, what would it be? And then who would you be without that bag? Who would you be without that piece, that piece that's weighing you down so much? How much fun could you have? How much enjoyment could you get from your partner and your children if you could just let that one piece go? So those are my assignments for today. I'd like it if you shared. If you feel comfortable sharing, please drop me a PM and just let me know. If you want to share here, feel free. If you don't feel comfortable sharing here, but you do want to share with me, then like I said, just drop me a PM and show me, or talk to me. And if you're really struggling with your parenting or your schooling, I know those of us who are in the Northern Hemisphere are getting ready for school in the next month or so. And so that's big in and of itself. Here, I'm working on our music book that's hopefully coming out in the next few days, and not hopefully, it is coming out in the next few days. Our new music program, but the Nielsen House is very steeped in planning right now and getting everything sorted so that we have. And things are changing at the last minute on some things. And so, I have to be aware, I have to be paying attention. But I do these exercises so that I know where I'm feeling with each child, and I know where I'm headed with each child. It's super helpful to sort of have this little signpost. So anyways, I'd like to just leave you with that. That's short this week, but I feel like these are meaningful exercises. And again, please share with me if you're comfortable. So I hope you have a wonderful week. And we will see you again next week. Bye now.